Hello and welcome to Americans Talk Australian Survivor. I'm Rachel.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Matt.
Thanks for joining us. We just watched episode 6 of Australian Survivor Australia versus the World, and there will be spoilers ahead. Thank you to everyone who reached out and explained to us that the tribe name is from the Australian First Nations language and that it means kind of like an excellent, it could mean a lot of different things. So we appreciate the update from our Australian fans. Thank you very much for keeping us in the loop.
Yes, thank you.
It's always fun to learn about a culture that we've never experienced as we have yet to come to Australia. So thank you all for reaching out and helping us learn.
But we
Well,
are
maybe
hoping to
someday
go
soon.
there. Yeah, we're hoping to soon be there.
So we open up on episode 6 and there are only 9 contestants left. So we're really getting down to the wire. We just
Wow.
saw Sarah go home, and Luke, for one, is blindsided that Sarah just went home. He goes up to Kirby, and Kirby's like, I told you. And Luke is not happy. And I have to agree with Kirby. She did tell him that she was going to vote out Sarah, and he said, don't do it. But she still told him.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and then
but
he's just frustrated and says he's done with Kirby.
right. I agree with him because he says he wanted it to be a patriot to the country. And I believe that's what they should have done. We'll get into this more, but I really do believe that they should have stuck together. Why vote out one of your own? Never a good thing.
Well, the next day, we see Parvati and Kirby talking, and they have decided that they are going to be each other's ride or die. So that's kind of interesting. They've only known each other maybe a day, maybe 2 days at this point. But Kirby really wants to be the two of them sitting at the end. And Parvati says, yeah, maybe you, me, and Suri. And so it is interesting that Parvati seems a little bit less into this duo, but Kirby is like all in on this pairing.
Yeah, Kirby was way over the top. It was very strange watching her. And Barb even says that she invented the flirt game. She knows what's going on. And if I were Kirby, I would be a little scared because Barb did mention Sari.
Right,
Yeah.
So,
right off the bat,
right.
it seemed
So
like the
that's her
two of us
number.
together. Oh, and my friend, kind of,
Yeah.
right?
So Kirby's not going to be the number one, but you know,
Yeah, when I was
Right.
watching this, I was thinking when Kirby last played, her main player that she was with was Ferris, who obviously was he ultimately voted her out. They were kind of on and off, back and forth, friends, but
hmm
Kirby never really had a number one or a ride or die, and I feel like she really wanted that this time. She wanted it to be Sarah, didn't work out with Sarah, now she wants it to be Parvati. I don't know why she thinks that she needs a ride or die. I guess she kind of thinking back to when Kirby was first voted out, she did kind of need just like one good ally to stick up for her to kind of save her through that vote that she left at. So I guess maybe she's just like reflecting on her prior season and thinking a ride or die would have really helped. But it's a very interesting strategy to be so focused on this that I feel like it's kind of clouding her judgment in other ways.
Oh, I believe it wholeheartedly. That is clouding her judgment. So
Hey,
the
so something interesting happened. I saw Kirby making fire, and usually you don't see anyone making fire, right? We haven't seen, I don't think we've seen anybody making fire on the beach this whole season.
Well, it was raining, so their fire probably went out and they had to restart it.
I thought maybe it was a little foreshadowing of something to happen.
Well,
well,
interestingly, Parvati we see is kind of shoving off the World Alliance. So
hmm
Lisa kind of walks by. She's like, "Yeah, let's play this down." And Cass and Lisa are feeling very avoided and a little bit upset by Parvati. And it is very interesting. She doesn't want them to be seen together so that they're not suspected to work together. But obviously, there's going to be some worry that they're working together because they came from the same tribe. I mean, it would be
Yes.
one
yeah,
thing if Parvati was like, "Oh, Kirby, don't come too close. I don't want anyone to know that we're working together." But Lisa and Cass are the people that, people should think she's working with to kind of cover up
Right.
the Kirby alliance.
plus
Nothing
at
to
this
hide with
point,
Kirby.
plus at this point, everybody's talks to everyone. There's not enough players. Not, you know what I mean? There's fewer players.
Yeah, so I see why Cass and Lisa were a little bit put off by this attitude.
Sure, sure.
Well, speaking of people being upset with prior tribe mates, Janine is also very mad at Kirby for flipping on the Aussies. So she and Luke decide they're going to go out and find any cracks in basically anywhere, and they're going to wiggle their way into the world.
Well, I was surprised because Janine, well, I'm first off, I'm very excited that we're seeing her, right? Because I feel
Mhm.
like we haven't seen her this season. So very good to hear her speaking. And I thought it was interesting. She went to Parv and said, I want to work with you. And then she threw Cass underneath the bus by saying, let's vote her. I was very surprised.
Yeah, so Janine's saying, Cass has been saying your name, like I think she's after you and all of this, and I haven't been seeing that. I don't know if I missed something or if Janine was making that up, but
I think she was making it up. But why
yeah,
she picked Cass, I'm not sure.
yeah, I don't know. That was a unique choice, but yeah, later on in the episode we see Janine talk a lot about how her businesswoman tendencies are really serving her well in the game of Survivor, and I feel like this is
Mm-hmm.
a classic example. She just goes in confidently and says, I feel like I'm trying to help you out by telling you that someone is
Mm-hmm.
after you. And she's very confident and very
Yes.
calm, and I think she does it quite well. So we'll see
Yes, I
how
agree.
that sets up the immunity challenge.
And Luke, when they're walking up to the immunity challenge, Luke's like, "Oh no, it's a torture chamber."
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a short time torture chamber. Like you can get out of it pretty easily.
Yeah, but it's
not
not only
like,
immunity; for a reward, right?
yeah. So not quite the torture chamber that we saw last night with the underwater challenge,
Yeah, right.
but a
Crazy.
different type. Yeah, so JLP tells us that the winner will get immunity and a scroll, but then later he tells us that we cannot see the contents of the scroll until tomorrow morning, so next episode.
Yeah,
So the players have to hold up on each side, kind of like these beams. They look at very odd angles. It looks incredibly uncomfortable. They say it's 15% of their body weight. And people are having trouble even getting the challenge started. Just lifting up that 15% looks very
sure,
difficult. And they're dropping
Right.
like flies. I mean, Cerie's out after less than 1 minute. At two
right.
minutes, we have four people down. I mean, it looks like a tough challenge. I'm glad I wasn't there
Yeah,
for this one.
Tommy made it to 5 minutes.
I like what Tommy said. I feel like I'm going to break something. He
Yeah,
said as all the weight is he's holding up all that weight. So it did look very challenging, and then also to have that rope with that little handle that they had to keep within that painted area too. You couldn't go too far down
Yeah.
or you'd be out. It looked very difficult.
right.
Yeah, quite the challenge. Well, no surprise, it comes down to Parvati and Cass as our two endurance beasts. And
Yeah,
Jonathan
how
even
did they
reminds
do it?
them, yeah, well, Jonathan even reminds them, hey, didn't you guys make a pact last time?
Right,
Yeah.
but that's what
And
I didn't
then
understand. Why didn't Cass say, "Hey, you owe me, drop out now"?
yeah, I
She
I
didn't
didn't
say
understand that.
anything.
Why she didn't say that. I'm like, say it, say it.
Right.
Well, I think that opportunity of, the prior pact that they made where Parvati said, I'll drop out at one point when it's down to the two of you if you do it this time. And that last time, Cass did give Parvati the immunity necklace. I think that this is kind of for Cass to cash in whenever she wants, right? Like, she didn't have to do it this very first
Oh,
time.
I see
And
what you're
so
saying.
Cass, for some reason, either thought that she could win this one, she thought that it wasn't worth kind of maybe she didn't feel that she needed the necklace as much tonight. She thought she could kind of save this packed in the bag for another time.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, I was thinking when I was seeing Parvati struggle at the beginning, I was kind of like, well, what if it does come down to her and Cass and she has to drop out? Like, you may as well just drop out early if you know you're not going to be
Hmm.
able to win. But Parvati really wants to win because obviously she's coming after Cass. But Cass is able to do it. She
Yeah.
beats out everyone. Parvati drops, and Cass takes home the immunity necklace. So good for her.
Well, let's talk about these two women. How are they doing this? They are. It's just very interesting to me that they're that strong. It's congratulations to both of them. It's just amazing.
A tremendous effort.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the endurance challenges tend to go to women, it seems like, towards the
Yeah.
end. And so I
It
feel
does,
like
yes.
that if you're training to go on Survivor, add this to our list, practice endurance. We've seen people, practice their, what is it, like their wrist strength or their grip strength, they've said before
Right.
is a big deal. So I think all these, just being in one uncomfortable position for as long as you can is what you have to practice over and over again until you make
I
it on
and I
Survivor.
I
Wait, when
think
you were just, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I think you need ankle strength too. When you stand on those little pegs and you have to keep
Mm,
moving down and down and
Oh,
getting
yeah.
smaller and smaller. You need some strong ankles and feet with no nerve endings or something.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I was thinking when you were talking about practicing, we haven't seen any puzzles.
Yeah,
Hmm,
you're right. Not a lot of puzzles at
interesting.
all.
Yeah. Good
No.
point.
So wonder, I guess
Yeah,
maybe it'd be just too hard. I don't know.
JLP, where are the puzzles? Bring some out.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations to Cass for taking home
Hmm.
her first immunity win of the season. So, and then she also gets the
Congratulations.
scroll, and I can't wait
Oh
to see
yeah.
what happens tomorrow morning when she opens that up.
Right,
What do you
right.
guys think it will be?
I don't know. It'll be like half of an idol, right? The other half of it is buried under the camp, or she needs to do something else. It's too easy to just give them. That's what I think. It's part of an idol.
You think a clue to an idol?
Yes.
I don't think it's a clue to an idol. I think it's something like I don't know, but I don't think it's that.
I wonder if
Go
it'll be
ahead.
like a steal a vote or like a block
Yeah,
a
something
vote,
like
something like
that.
that. I don't know.
Or
So
someone
maybe
can't go
she
to tribal, they can't vote or something.
an advantage in the next
Yeah,
immunity
maybe,
challenge,
That'd be
maybe.
good. Well, we'll find out on Sunday night.
right? It seems so long. They said it's tomorrow morning, and I'm like, oh, we have to wait all
Yeah,
these
Yeah.
days
right.
till we can find out.
Right,
I'd
yeah.
like to know tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, Cass is set up very well. So now she has the scroll, and we have no idea what it means. But she does have that secret immunity idol that
Oh,
no
that's
one on
right.
the entire tribe knows about. So
I forgot about
she's
that.
collecting things. So good for
Hmm.
her, and the necklace.
Yeah.
So that's quite a bit. So back at camp, we see, of course, that Parvati's upset because Cass is coming from her. Now she can't vote her out. But she does kind of confront Cass and say, I've heard that you've been saying my name. And Cass is like, no, absolutely not. I'm rolled strong. And it is interesting because you can see Cass genuinely looks like scared and upset, I thought, at these
Yes.
accusations.
Right, definitely concerned.
Yeah. So then Kirby and Parvati, the new ride or dies, are discussing who they're going to get out. They want to target the International Alliance. They obviously cannot get Cass at this point. So they're saying either Tommy or Lisa. Of course, Lisa's walking right behind.
Right, it always happens that way, right?
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
they say they're not going to write each other's name down. And I'm just like, Kirby, you claim that you never watched anything. I don't understand. Why are you so focused on this one individual player? How does she know she's the Black Widow? You know what I mean? It was just, Kirby was just like over the top, infatuated with Parv.
Yeah, I
yeah.
understand. And then she said she doesn't watch, but that not everybody's truthful. We've seen plenty of people lie about their professions
Yeah,
or
yeah.
their families, so it's just part of the game that I don't watch, so I'm not really that big of a threat.
Yeah, I mean, we know Kirby wasn't familiar with the game going into her first season, but we don't know what she's been up to. She probably at least saw some highlight reels of something, but I don't know.
Right.
They also keep telling us that Parvati is just like a very intriguing person to be around. She must kind of have that natural energy that draws people in. But
Hmm.
yeah, I'm expecting this behavior more from Lisa, who is like very
Right.
visually like overwhelmed to meet Suri or something like that. Yeah, so it is kind of odd coming from Kirby, but
Yeah.
I don't
Kirby's a
know.
strong woman. I don't, I'm just very, what can you do?
Well, Kirby moves forward with a plan on Lisa. She tells Janine and Luke that she wants to go Aussie strong.
Yeah,
Um,
wasn't that weird? I'm thinking what about the last tribe council? What are you talking tribal council?
Yeah, well, that Kirby's plan does not stick very well to Luke because then he and Shawnee are talking and they're thinking, what if we join the International Three? So they're kind of flipping the
Hmm.
game. And I'm thinking, well, why is Shawnee already flipping? I guess Shawnee, looking at this four of Shawnee, Kirby, Parvati, and Suri, and Shawnee is a little bit probably on the bottom. It certainly is looking like Parvati and
Sure.
Kirby are, number
Hmm.
one and two, and then
Controlling things.
Suri. Yeah, and then Suri's prior connections to Parvati kind of make her number three, I guess. So I see why Shawnee's interested in flipping, but I guess I don't get why she was even with them in the first place. But for
Yeah,
whatever
well,
reason, she's open to flipping.
right. But then I thought it was really funny because then Luke says he's going to join the international team. He's going on a road trip, Finland, Quebec, and wherever the other person lives. Now he should have known where Lisa was in New Zealand since there
And
seems
they're
to
not
me
that
Close
they're
far
together.
pretty
away.
Yeah.
close to each other.
Right.
You would think you would
So,
just know by the accent, if
yeah,
Yeah.
nothing
yeah,
else.
right.
But
Or just know maybe because before you even went on the show, maybe you would know
Eh,
about all the cast members. I don't know.
or maybe talk to her sometime in the last 2 days.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, well, Luke's world tour takes him to New Zealand, even though he wasn't
yeah.
expecting it. And he tells Lisa straight up, they're coming for you, and I'm trying to, save you and help you out and everything. So he said, maybe we'll go Kirby, maybe we'll go Suri. I don't know. It was interesting because he said, like, I think he said, like, we're willing to go for an Aussie, and he's like, well, maybe Kirby or maybe Suri. And I'm thinking, well, she's certainly not an Aussie, but
Yeah, I know.
I
All
was
right, so
getting a
let
little
me ask
worried.
you guys, why are they not looking to get out Parv?
I don't know.
I
Everyone
don't
likes her.
understand.
I think that they're afraid. Nobody wants to mention her name because once you're the person who mentions her name, then she'll get you.
Yeah, but what about George, David? I mean, everybody else. I don't know.
They're
They got
gone.
out these other big people, but that's what I'm saying. They were big players.
Right. But
But
I don't know. They just all fear her.
I
I
do
just
She
think
think
has,
she didn't have the immunity idol or necklace. Get rid of her.
I do think that Suri is a big part of this because Suri was an ally from prior seasons, right? And so we know that that's a very tight bond. And
Hmm.
we've seen, obviously George and Shawnee were allies, but then George flipped on her. David and Sarah didn't really play the game together. So they weren't necessarily like allies from the game. So I feel like Suri and Parvati have a different level of relationship than any other
Mm,
duo we've
hmm.
seen. And so I think anyone Lisa is so close to Suri that, well, she tells Suri that the plan is Parvati, and then Suri's going to come back and tell Parv. I
yeah,
feel like she's
Yeah,
Parvati is
maybe. Yeah.
very well
absolutely. Yep.
connected in her web, as she always describes it as. And I feel like
Well,
the
I
other
feel
players didn't get far enough to weave that web.
okay. Well, Cherie is doing a very good job, I think, keeping the international crew together. I think she really does like those three, and I like how I just like she has a calm presence in this show, I thought.
Yeah, Suri's doing
Right.
very
And she's
nicely.
probably looking ahead saying, I might be able to use these three people
Hmm.
because one or two of them are going to be there at the end. Right. And so if I've been friends with them, not necessarily
Mhm.
voting with them all the time, but treating them nicely, it may pay off. Who knows?
Right, right.
Well, I did like this next part where we see Suri speak with Janine. And
Hmm.
I thought that it was interesting. We hadn't really seen Suri and Janine interact too much, but they do look like, maybe a similar age, and they seem to connect very well on saying, I also really like Kirby, but it does lie to people. Sarah was her number
Hmm.
one. Where's Sarah now? And Janine even said, like anything that I tell you is in your best interest is in my best interest. And
Hmm.
you see her do it so smoothly. I was really surprised by how good Janine is. I mean, I figured, right, based on her CEO status or I don't know,
Sure.
Right.
businesswoman, and we've seen her play before and we know she's the godmother, but she was really proving it in this moment. I felt like we could
I
tell
agree with
Suri
you.
hug her and Suri's like, "Oh, I trust you so much." And
Yeah, right,
she was
right.
laying it on thick.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
what
Like she's in sales, right? She knows how to make people feel good about what
yeah.
she's saying.
Oh, you're right. She did an excellent job. And then I think it was interesting because Cerise said the Aussies are scary.
Yeah.
I thought that was a
Yeah.
funny thing.
It is a funny thing to say on Australian Survivor.
Yeah.
Well, then Suri goes over and tells her international friends, Cass and Lisa. But Cass is saying, Janine might be a little bit too risky. So I feel like we kind of saw this last episode too, where information gets told to Suri and there's this doubt. People are telling her their
Hmm.
actual plans and they're always like, I don't know if they're telling you the truth. And so it is interesting. So we'll see. But then they make the decision they said something about like, well, we have to get Parvati on board too. And I'm thinking, well, why would we get Parvati on board to vote
Yes.
out Kirby? Just don't tell her. Leave her in the dark. She
Right,
just keeps
right.
announcing that they're number one. Maybe they haven't explained to the whole tribe that they're ride or dies quite yet, but you would think just based on how often they're going off and talking that it would become obvious not to include her in
Yeah.
this.
Right.
And you don't need every vote to vote somebody off, right? So why tell her?
Yeah. Well, obviously, Parvati doesn't like that name. She is like,
Yeah.
well, I just told her I wasn't going to write her name down, literally
Yeah,
like
I
hours
know.
ago. But Parvati brings up actually a very good point. Once Kirby's gone, then she's like clearly the biggest threat, Parvati. And I think right now Parvati's the
Hmm.
biggest threat in the
Yes.
game, but Kirby's at least close. When Kirby goes home, yeah, like Parvati is like. And I mean, Suri is definitely a big threat, but she's really lowered her threat level somehow on this game, and no one's talking about her as much as a big name. But I feel like Kirby leaving really does increase the target on Parvati.
I agree. Yeah. Harv is going to be number one
Yeah,
enemy.
so now she's saying, well, maybe I should play my idol for Kirby and save her because then I'll have this kind of really strong person in my back pocket that'll kind of owe me. And I don't know. At this point, I'm thinking I think
That
she's gonna do it.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
like a good
that's
plan
I
to
got
me,
scared.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Look what I did for you. How could you ever go against me?
Right, right. Well,
And
I
it's
thought it
a
was interesting that Kirby brought up Ferris.
yeah. Well, it
Yeah.
sounds
She said
like
she was upset because he didn't play his idol for her.
I think in terms of filming, Kirby's most recent or Kirby's first season and this season were very close together. I don't know exactly how far apart, but I think that was still very fresh in Kirby's mind. I think that
Hmm.
she's remembering that Ferris didn't play her idol. I wonder if she had like an inkling that maybe Parvati had an idol and was like, my last friend didn't play it for me, but we just
Maybe.
said we're number one. I
Yeah.
don't know. Or maybe she was genuinely scared. It was hard to tell. But
Yeah, you never know whether that was brought up, right? It was Cass who saw her get the the idol,
Yeah, the idol.
right?
Right.
At
Hmm.
from the
yeah,
podium. So you never
yeah.
know whether Cass might have just said, "Hey, she's got it," and then that gets passed on, and they just didn't get clips of that or didn't add it.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
true.
So I was really convinced that Parvati was going to play the idol before they went into tribal council because I thought this would be a big move for the jury to say, look, I went against the grain. My alliance tried to flip on me. I saved the biggest threat in the game. I remember from Kirby's initial season, she kept saying that like, well, if you want to go up against or if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And Kirby thought that
Hmm.
she herself was the best. So she was like, you have to take me to the final two or three, and beat me to kind of prove it. And I thought that this would be Parvati's opportunity to prove that she wanted to beat the best at
Hmm.
Australian
Hmm.
Survivor. But
All
then
right, well
we,
then we're in tribal, right? Wait, what do you think about Sarah's shorts? I loved them.
yeah, Sarah looked great. She looked very, like a model, as she is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But the
yes,
shorts
right.
had some kind of like what are those called? I
Some
can't think what they
sequins or
are.
something. Yeah, it looked great.
No, yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well, people always look, 50 or 100% better from when they haven't taken a shower in a
Right, right.
couple of
I'm just
weeks,
saying I liked her
right?
shorts, yeah. But
Well,
she did look good also, yeah.
but yeah, but like Rachel said, she's a model.
Yeah.
well, Kirby was really under the bus a lot on Tribal thanks
Hmm.
to JLP. So Luke is reminding us that Kirby, kind of threw Sarah under the bus, and Kirby keeps saying, we've been over that. Come on, let's move
Yeah,
on.
I know.
Yeah,
She's
right,
she's
right.
like, come
She
on.
was annoyed for sure.
Yeah. But it was a good move on Luke's part to just get it out so everybody knows that he's upset with Kirby.
Yeah, he's definitely making his lines clear.
Right.
Something they did mention at Tribal was Cass said it's like basically impossible to lie in English because it's her second language.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I feel like we had vaguely touched on kind of the language barrier in earlier episodes, but I think this really highlights just how difficult it is not only to play Survivor in a second language, but to be competing against people who are playing in their first language. That's a
Right.
really big
Which
difference.
is a majority of people.
Right, yeah. So I feel like it really puts Tommy and Cass at this major
Hmm.
disadvantage to be playing in a second language that everyone else does not have. So I don't
Yeah, well,
And
know.
they're
there's no
doing
one
a
else
great
from their
job.
country, right? No one else from their country. So here you are playing against, the Americans and then all the Aussies when you combine and you're like, oh my gosh, I really feel outnumbered in everywhere
Right.
I look.
Yeah, you have these two Americans who had an alliance 13 years ago, and now here you are coming in,
Right.
not your first language. You don't know anyone. So I don't know. I give Cass a lot of credit and Tommy
Yes.
for playing in
Hmm.
uh, their second language.
It would have been interesting if there was somebody else who spoke French
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you
That's
could have a
and
yeah.
then
little
Cass
secret
could
alliance.
communicate with that. Yeah,
Right,
right.
right,
And you just say like a half a sentence to them and then keep on going, and everyone's like,
right.
"What'd we miss there?"
That would really be an added layer of the
Yes.
game. Well, finally, it is time to vote. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, I do think Kirby is going to have the majority number of votes, but I think if Parvati plays her idol, then Lisa will go home. What are you guys thinking about this at this point?
I wasn't convinced that Kirby was going to get enough votes to go home.
I think I was just so scared I didn't know what to think.
You were scared.
I was scared.
Well, it is time to vote. The players go up and vote, and no idol is played. Did you guys see the look in
Mm.
Kirby's eyes? She like glanced
Right.
at.
She seemed to be like, come on,
Play it,
come
Well,
play it,
because
play it.
Harv, yeah,
on.
kind of acted like she was going to pull something out of her sleeve. So it looked like she
Yep.
was going to play an idol for Kirby, right?
They
And then she
always,
had nothing up her sleeve to come
yeah,
out.
they always throw some little movement in to make you think
Yeah.
someone's
Yep.
gonna play it. So,
A twitch.
yeah, so at this point, we see that there are two votes for Suri, one vote for Lisa, and then it's just Kirby, 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 and she ends up going home, which was
As
Mm.
Luke said,
very upsetting.
Curbs got toasted.
Yeah. So,
Oh, I'm so upset with Kirby because if she would have stuck with her original group, I think she would have gone farther in the game. And I think she just lost sight.
Yep.
She just was not thinking clearly. And she could have won this game. I really believe she could have won the game, but I think she wasn't focused enough or too focused on one person.
yeah.
And no hug for Parv at the end there. Did you see that? She stood
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
up.
went right to Luke, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah. And almost like out of the way. I'm going around you.
Yeah.
Well, then it
Yeah.
was weird because she said, I'm just shattered.
Yeah.
And I mean, she was just upset, couldn't believe it.
Well, it would be very difficult. You come into this world of Survivor. I think she placed fourth last time, and it was such a close fourth that, we all thought she would have won based
Hmm.
on,
Yes.
one different vote. So I think she really got hyped up when she went back home, and then they invite her out to the World Tribe, and she keeps hearing that, she's the best, she's one of the best players, and she's like in this great position, she's controlling the votes, and now to be blindsided like this, I think it really would hurt you a lot because you're like, whoa, I just
Sure.
got here. And now I just lost the game, twice in a year or however long, it was that she played. So,
And like you just said, she was controlling the vote.
yeah.
Wasn't since the very beginning, wasn't she controlling the vote?
Yeah,
It
I
certainly
mean,
seemed like it. Yes.
Yeah.
she's really
So,
been in a good position up until this episode.
yeah, she really messed up, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's too bad because I feel like Parvati had the power to do such a great move and they could have been a great power duo going forward. But we heard in the confessional, Parvati said that basically just seeing how Kirby had kind of cut out her close allies in the past, she didn't want it to be her. So I don't know. I would have liked to see them work together a little bit longer. It was very
Well,
sad to see
Yep.
Kirby go.
yes, very sad. I was thinking it was kind of like, in the beginning when people are trying to make big moves and it's too early. And I
Yeah.
think that's what happened. Kirby aligned too early to the international team. She should have waited, got the Aussies, keep them in the number so that they can dominate the game. But when she flipped over, she gave it away. So now two Aussies are gone. It's like, wait, this is their game. They're not
Yeah.
supposed to be going home.
All right.
Well, it
Well, I
did
liked it
make
at the end when she said, oh, at the end, Kirby says, blindsides are only fun when you're on the other
Yeah.
side of them.
yeah.
That was funny.
It did make for good TV to watch Kirby flip. I think she took a chance. It didn't work out, but good for her for at least trying. It's better than watching a boring, predictable game. I was surprised that it looked like Luke and Shawnee were the two votes for Suri. So it seems like Luke is like consistently on the outs of the votes. He really
Yeah.
Yeah.
seems to be messing up these votes. So that does not bode well for Luke. We'll see how
Oh,
he gets himself out of this.
Well, I'm pretty
I hope he
convinced that
does.
Shawnee's going to come back and she'll be in the final three,
We'll
Oh,
if
see.
not
wow.
win.
Yeah, Shawnee was your runner-up winner
Second.
pick, right? Now
Yeah.
that
Oh,
now that Tony's out.
you guys need some runner-ups now.
I know. Now I have to pick a new winner. I've been thinking about it. I feel like Parvati has a good shot because she's playing a very good game, but I don't know that she'll make it to the final tribal. So I'm leaning towards kind of a more like quiet winner. I feel like someone like Lisa or Cass is gonna come out and win. So I don't know. Maybe I'll put my cards on Lisa today. I'll say Lisa's my winner prediction moving forward.
I would pick, I think Cass is a good candidate because she certainly seems to be strong in the challenges. So perhaps she could go through that way. But I still have three Aussies in the game, and I'm rooting for them.
All right, well, we will see what happens next week. We'll be very disappointed to not see our friend Kirby in the game. We were so excited to see her come
Right.
Ah,
back for another season, but you
yeah,
know what?
so
Maybe
excited.
third time's the charm. Maybe we'll see her again in a couple years.
Kirby, if you ever want to talk to us, you're more than welcome to come on the podcast because I would love to hear what your thoughts were while you're playing this game.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. Please let us know what you think about Kirby's exit, and who you think will be winning now that I think we all thought Kirby was going to win, and now that she's out of the game, who can possibly take this game? Please let us know over on Instagram at ATA Survivor, TikTok at ATA Survivor, and send us an email at ataustraliansurvivor@gmail.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.